Hello everyone. In this video, we'll look at Terraform for managing Kubernetes resources and Sentinel to enforce policies around them. Let's take a look at a replication controller that's being managed using Terraform. Here I have a Kubernetes replication controller resource that's running a simple Nginx container. It also has a certain set of replicas defined using a Terraform variable called replicas. The replica count is set to 15. I also have a Kubernetes service that's going to expose the pods that are running underneath the replication controller. For the policy example, we'll take a look at a Sentinel policy that enforces a certain set of replicas to be running inside the Kubernetes cluster at any given time. So let's go back to our Terraform Enterprise UI. Here I've already created a workspace, which is called Sentinel Replication Controller Replicas Demo. And this is the workspace we'll use for this demo. So let's create our Sentinel policy. We'll go to Organization Settings, Sentinel Policy, create a new policy. We'll call this Kubernetes Replication Controller Replica Check. And we'll set the enforcement mode to hard mandatory. So even the operators will not be able to override this policy if it fails. For the policy code, let's go back to GitHub, to our replication controller folder, and let's take a look at our policy. So this policy again uses the tfplan import to make the Terraform plan available to Sentinel. Let's look at the main rule. Here we go through all the replication controller resources, and this is done using the Kubernetes replication controller function, which goes through the Terraform plan, looks for all the resources that are of type Kubernetes replication controller, creates a list and sends that back. Once we have a replication controller, we get the replica count for that replication controller. This is done using the function called replicas for. Once we have the replica count, then we compare that with 10. So if the replica count is less than 10, this policy check will pass. If it's greater than 10, this policy check will fail. So let's copy in this policy. Let's save it. Let's go back to our workspaces and let's queue a new plan. Terraform Enterprise will now run Terraform plan and then go through the policy check phase. The Terraform plan should succeed and the policy check should fail. So as you can see, the organization policies have hard failed. When we look through the check, we see which policies failed. In this case, Kubernetes Replication Controller Replica Check was the policy that we just created, and the result was false. So the reason why the policy failed is we go back to our Terraform configuration and we look at our replica count, and it's set to 15, which is greater than 10. So let's use this variable and try to make this policy pass. So we go back to a variable section, and we set the replica count to 5, which is less than 10. We can just go ahead and save and plan, which will queue another new plan. We'll go through the Terraform plan phase, which will be successful. And then the organization policies will pass. Now you can go ahead and confirm and apply. This will go ahead and create the replication controller and the Kubernetes service. Thank you.